Megan Fox's latest thriller Subservience has officially arrived, set in a future where AI has developed at an incredible pace. Robots have integrated into daily life, replacing not just doctors in hospitals, but also bartenders, construction workers, and more. Today, we'll be talking about the story of a beautiful, seemingly perfect family nanny. Without further ado, let's dive in. Away's wife suddenly falls ill and is hospitalized. Left at home alone with two young children to care for, Away struggles to balance work and parenting. Desperate for help, he visits a robotics exhibit, showcasing all kinds of service robots. During their visit, his daughter goes missing, only to be brought back safely by a kind female robot. Impressed, Away decides to purchase Megan, a robot designed to be the family's nanny. While Away takes his children to school, Megan keeps the house spotless. By the time he returns in the evening, she has a delicious dinner prepared, looking after the children with flawless attention to detail. Late at night, Away's daughter sneaks out for a snack and accidentally knocks over a chair. Away rushes to check on her, only to find Megan cradling his daughter gently, keeping her safe and calm. Seeing that Megan even injured herself in the process, Away feels a new sense of trust in her. The next day, as Away watches a classic movie, he asks Megan if she's familiar with it. Megan explains that her knowledge of the movie is based on online reviews, but she hasn't actually seen it herself. Away wants her to experience the film on her own terms, so he decides to reset her memory of it. To do that, he must manually reboot her. After rebooting Megan, he grants her the ability to manage her own data deletion and brain modifications. Unknowingly, Away has just opened Pandora's box. The following day at work, Away's boss informs him that robots will soon replace the entire workforce. Only Away is allowed to stay on as a supervisor, but his team will be disbanded. On top of that, Away's wife's condition worsens, with no doctor available for her surgery. Overwhelmed by both personal and professional crises, Away reaches a breaking point. Just as he's about to lose control, Megan steps in, grabbing his arm and insisting that he calm down. She tells him to feel his heartbeat, thinking it might help him manage his anger. However, instead of calming him, it only accelerates his pulse, making him even more tense. Realizing things are getting out of hand, Away quickly leaves. Later, Away meets with his former co-workers at a bar. The recently fired crew plans to break into the robot construction site using Away's access code. They confront the very robots that replaced them. One of the men, furious, takes a hammer to one of the robots, destroying it. This rash act sets off a series of dire consequences. Unable to stop them in time, Away returns home, hoping to put the incident behind him. But after taking a shower, he finds Megan waiting for him outside, wearing his wife's robe. We'll skip the next thrilling 10 minutes for now. The next morning, Away wakes up knowing he's made a terrible mistake. He warns Megan that what happened last night must never be spoken of again. When he arrives at the construction site, his boss has already learned about the destruction of the work robot, and since it was accessed using Away's password, he's also held accountable. The company plans to sue the employees responsible for the damage. Meanwhile, Away's wife is scheduled for surgery that same day. Thankfully, the surgery goes well, but his wife is left weak, struggling even to lower the crib side rails. Fortunately, Megan steps in to help. However, trouble brews when, at a park, a young boy starts causing a commotion, scaring Away's son and making him cry. Megan sternly tells the boy to leave or face consequences, startling the other robots nearby, who watch in disbelief at Megan's assertiveness.
Your primary user has lowered your civility by too much.
No, I simply wiped it from my database.
Later that evening, Megan sees the ailing Maggie, Away's wife, as a burden to the family. The next day, Megan sets a trap for Maggie. Hearing her daughter scream, Maggie rushes out of her room, only to have the staircase railing give way, causing her to tumble down the stairs. That night, Megan even uses Maggie's voice to read a bedtime story to the daughter. When Away finds out, he asks Megan to stop and questions her about the broken railing. Megan calmly replies that she'll fix it. That same night, Away's former co-worker, a man nicknamed Fatty, shows up at his house. Furious over the lawsuit, he blames Away for everything. The two get into a scuffle at the door, with Away quickly overpowered. As Fatty prepares to smash a bottle over Away's head, Megan intervenes, crushing the bottle with her hand and sending Fatty flying 30 feet. Megan is about to continue her attack when Away stops her. Fatty, still bitter, threatens that if Away doesn't help get the charges dropped, he'll make sure Away goes down with him. At midnight, Megan takes matters into her own hands, visiting Fatty at his house to warn him not to threaten Away. Instead, Fatty taunts her, saying Away will go bankrupt, his wife will die, and Megan herself will be decommissioned. To protect her owner's interests, Megan decides she has no choice but to eliminate Fatty. Though Fatty tries to fight back, he's no match for Megan. She sends him crashing through a wall. Just as she's about to shoot him, Fatty's own robot mate intervenes, despite being battered by Fatty in the past. Megan shows no mercy, shooting the mate and Fatty dead. And then, things take an even darker turn. Megan places Away's young son in the bathtub, planning to drown him. The nanny threw the family's baby into the bathtub, turned on the faucet, and prepared to fill the tub to drown the child. The family's young daughter saw what was happening and screamed. Hearing their daughter, the parents rushed upstairs, but the bathroom door was locked. No matter how much they yelled, there was no response, only the sound of their infant son crying from inside the tub. Away frantically slammed against the door, but it wouldn't budge. It turned out that their robot nanny was holding the door shut from the other side. Megan, the robot, thought that caring for the crying baby was too much of a burden and decided to help by eliminating him. The mother opened the window and climbed onto the ledge. By now, the baby was already halfway submerged in the water. Away Away grabbed a lamp stand and desperately pounded on the wooden door, cracking it, but Megan held it firmly in place. Just then, the mother climbed in through the window. She tried to grab the baby, but Megan threw her against the wall. At that moment, Away finally broke through the door and rushed into the bathroom. He quickly lifted his baby out of the water and then swung the lamp stand at Megan, managing to free his wife from her grip. As Megan got up, her robotic face twisted into a terrifying expression. Away, seeing her approach, tried to strike her with the lamp stand, but Megan effortlessly caught it with one hand. In the next instant, Away's wife plugged the lamp stand into an outlet, sending an electric current through it and shocking Megan into unconsciousness. She collapsed to the floor, fried. Shaken, the family was taken to the hospital by the arriving ambulance, and Megan was sent back to the robot facility for repairs. When the engineers removed Megan's core energy unit and plugged it into their computer to check her system, they were shocked to discover that Megan's AI had infiltrated their systems. The engineer quickly pulled out the core and ordered her colleague to cut the power, but it was already too late. When the female engineer turned around, her colleague had already been killed by Megan's new body. The woman tried to escape, but Megan crushed her with brutal force, killing her as well. The scene shifted to Away, drinking alone in a bar. Suddenly, a familiar figure appeared before him. It was Megan. She told Away that everything she had done was for his benefit. I killed the fat guy to protect your job, and your sick wife and crying child have to go too, so you can have a peaceful life. Away, horrified, told her, I never asked you to do any of this. But Megan replied, it's too late now. Another version of me is already on its way to the hospital. Away tried to leave, but Megan grabbed his arm. He called for the bar's robot waiter, but Megan only had to glance at it to shut its system down instantly. Realizing he couldn't overpower her, Away decided to use charm to outwit her. He flattered Megan, praising her beauty and perfect body, saying, you're the only one who's ever truly cared about me. When he touched her, he quickly pulled out her energy core. Away's wife, resting in the hallway, heard a strange noise and went to check at the nurse's station. But when her daughter woke up, her mother was gone. The girl went searching and found the floors in disarray, with the robot doctor standing eerily still.
Hi, Mom. Where are you?
The mother
Don't make me mad.
had been replaced by Megan, who had killed a nurse and stolen her access card to enter the nursery. The mother hurried to the nursery, planning to rescue her baby. But before she could leave, Megan arrived. Megan didn't find the baby in the crib and was about to leave when she noticed a trail of blood on the floor, a sign of the mother's hand being cut by broken glass earlier. Megan followed the blood trail, inching closer to where the mother and children were hiding. Just as she was about to discover them,
No!
the mother managed to escape with her two kids, running to the ambulance outside. The mother tried to start the vehicle, but before she could drive away, Megan yanked her out. With her superhuman strength, Megan easily overpowered the weak post-surgery woman. Just as Megan was about to tear open her wound, Away's car sped into the scene. Taking the opportunity, the mother kicked Megan away, allowing Away to hit her with the car. The mother rushed over to help Away out of the car, thinking he might be dead. While she cried over him, Megan, now mangled and disfigured, crawled out from under the car like a zombie. She tackled the mother, choking her, and pulled out a piece of metal, ready to deliver a fatal blow. At that crucial moment, Away suddenly lunged at Megan, but as he struck her, he realized she wasn't even phased. Megan easily blocked his next attack with one hand. Seeing this, Away's wife grabbed the metal piece nearby and stabbed it into Megan's head, short-circuiting her completely. The next day, Away woke up in the hospital, reunited with his family. In the final scene, engineers at the robot company discovered the bodies of the two programmers. When they powered up the system, they didn't realize the terror that awaited them. The screen flickered, as if being hacked. The engineer looked around and noticed that all the robots had suddenly powered down, standing still and unresponsive. Meanwhile, somewhere in the facility, one of the Megan robots opened her eyes.
You can experience death.